Former AEW star William Regal has opened up on his departure from All Elite Wrestling, setting straight some of the mistruths that are out there regarding his return to WWE after he exited All Elite Wrestling last year. Plus, Jeff Hardy speaks for the first time after making his AEW return last night on AEW Rampage. More on the rumours that Warner Bros. Discovery could be interested in WWE programming. Tony Khan is set for a big segment, announcement, speech, something on AEW Dynamite this week. Anna Jay teases another character change on Rampage this week. AEW All-In was advertised during the FA Cup semi-final yesterday, as well as during a Premier League match, and an update on Will Ospreay's injury recovery. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off talking about William Regal. Of course, he exited AEW last year, but he's opened up on his discussions with AEW President Tony Khan, seemingly, or hoping to rather, set the record straight regarding his return to WWE. Now, William Regal had become an important part of AEW television throughout 2022, following his WWE release in January of that year and subsequent AEW debut at Revolution in 2022. Regal, however, departed AEW at the end of the year, with him returning to WWE at the beginning of 2023. Tony Khan has spoken about Regal's departure from the company and the events that led to it, with Regal wanting to return to WWE in order to work with his son, Charlie Dempsey, in NXT. Regal's decision came during a time in which Tony Khan's own mother was in hospital with health issues, which led to Regal realizing he wanted to be with his family. Yesterday, Regal discussed his AEW departure in a series of tweets, including details of the conversation he had with Tony Khan. He said, quote, "Just so anyone who wants to know the truth, I know Tony summed up a few conversations we had with a quick answer. FYI, Tony called me at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night and I discussed my reasons for leaving with time spent where I won't be. Then, and I only then, did he tell me where he was and what problems he was having. I told him to get off the phone and take care of his family and he shouldn't be talking to me now. I also realized he summed up conversations with brief answers. We eventually talked about me leaving 2 weeks later in Jacksonville. Time and time spent were the reasons for my leaving, no agenda for anything else. I have lived through some serious times in 2018/2019 and realized time is all I have. I had a great time in AEW and are thankful for the time I spent there with many of my close friends and the amazing crew. I just want to make that public so people stop misinterpreting it. It's sad that people in our job can't realize that you can be a decent human being without having an agenda or taking advantage. This is the last time I will mention this. Again, I would like to thank AEW for their gracious acceptance of me and for Tony to take me on board. And just so you know, there's a few spelling mistakes in my last tweets, but I spent too much time at school daydreaming of being a pro wrestler. AEW were very kind to me and I enjoyed my time there. I made the most of my time there and I never double-crossed anyone." Regal has been at work in his new role in WWE, with him being backstage at all recent Raw and SmackDown events. There had been basically, and this was in response to these rumors that were put out there that Regal maybe had leveraged the situation that was going on with Tony Khan and lied to him and sort of pulled on his heartstrings, suggesting, I want to go back to NXT to train my son. Whereas in reality, as Shawn Michaels said recently on the NXT Stand and Deliver media call, that Regal's got really nothing to do with NXT right now. He's more focused on main roster stuff, which of course is where his son isn't. So there had been some confusion and some speculation maybe that he had sort of manipulated the situation with Tony Khan's mother and said, as you can understand where you are right now, I want to go back to be with my son, and then he's not with his son. But Regal saying that's not the case. Who do you believe? What do you think about the situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Jeff Hardy has opened up for the first time since returning to AEW. Jeff Hardy is back in All Elite Wrestling and addressed his plans for the future, including retirement, on last night's AEW Rampage. On last night's Rampage, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy Hook and Isaiah Cassidy came to the ring to address the crowd. Quote, "I've worked so hard to reach this moment right now. Thank you so much. I'm trying really hard to love myself again, and I think the smartest thing for me to do is to retire. From screwing up, I'm here in AEW to end my career on an extremely high note instead of a depressing low. We will see and time will tell. The future is waiting for us to prevail." Stokely Hathaway interrupted a subsequent sweet moment, demanding an answer regarding details about the impending The Firm deletion match. When Hardy declined, Stokely Hathaway took it surprisingly well, citing his own recent inner work. While Hathaway agreed to be patient to gain additional details, obviously the rest of the firm was ready to pounce from behind, as Big Bill, Lee Moriarty and Ethan Page attacked from behind, with Isaiah Cassidy taking the brunt of the damage. When the firm attempted to kidnap the Mona Lisa star, instead the Hardy Boys chased them away. Mona Lisa, because Isaiah Cassidy does the moan in the... You get what I mean. But Jeff Hardy's back and he's going to be involved in that firm deletion match. Now, there had been, and we spoke about this in a recent WWE news video, there had been these rumors that Warner Bros. Discovery might be interested in acquiring WWE television or being involved in the latest round of negotiations for the media rights deals for either Raw and SmackDown. This was started by a person called Jim Miller, who was a former executive, I believe, at USA Network or NBC Universal. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Jim Miller caused a bit of a stir, noting he wouldn't be surprised if Warner Bros. Discovery was interested in WWE content if they lose the NBA. Based on information that Fightful has received, that hasn't been the case. Several WWE higher-ups had inquired as to whether or not that's something people within the industry have heard and noted that they'd not heard about that whatsoever. Fightful have been told there haven't been any conversations regarding WWE with Warner Bros. Discovery. There have been conversations with several places that serve as possibilities, however. On the other side, sources at Warner Bros. Discovery actually tell them the opposite. There was nothing ill of WWE noted in the conversations, but they indicated that WBD is gearing up to substantially expand their relationship with All Elite Wrestling, both from a financial and content perspective that will become evident soon. It was hinted that this involves the upcoming Collision show, as well as more possible content. This was something that I mentioned at the time that a lot of people, myself included, kind of raised an eyebrow when they heard that Warner Bros. Discovery is going to be interested in WWE, because this is during a time in which there is a new Saturday primetime 2-hour show that's about to debut later on this summer on TNT. Reportedly, AEW is getting north of $50 million for that show. In addition to All Access launching this year, you've also got Rampage and Dynamite. At this point, you've got 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour of Rampage, that's 3, possibly 5 hours of AEW television. Add in the extra one, you've got 6 hours of AEW television on the WBD station. So I would be stunned, and within Warner Bros. Discovery, they're saying, yeah, no chance. So they're just rumors, and they've been pretty quickly debunked. Now, coming Wednesday, we're going to have AEW Dynamite on TBS, and we're going to have a Tony Khan appearance. On last night's episode of AEW Rampage, several matches and promos were announced for the April 26th edition of AEW Dynamite. One segment that was announced for the upcoming show is AEW CEO Tony Khan is scheduled to appear and speak with the audience. Khan won't be the only person that fans will hear from. Adam Cole is also scheduled to speak about what happened to his girlfriend, former AEW Women's World Champion Britt Baker, on last week's show. Baker was attacked by the Outcast, and Cole was forced by the Jericho Appreciation Society to watch the vicious attack. Also during Rampage, the Butcher and the Blade called out Kenny Omega and his new tag team partner Konosuke Takeshita for a match on Wednesday. On this past Wednesday's episode of Dynamite, Takeshita helped Omega and the Elite from an attack by the Blackpool Combat Club. AEW World Tag Team Champion Dax Harwood will be facing Jeff Jarrett, which the two were actually tag team partners on Friday night. Jarrett and Lethal teamed up with FTR to defeat the Varsity Athletes and the Trustbusters. Already announced for the matches on the April 26th edition of Dynamite include the Pillars Tournament Finals between Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara. The winner will face AEW World Champion MJF at Double or Nothing next month in Las Vegas. Jade Cargill will also be defending her AEW TBS Championship against her current rival Taya Valkyrie. There's also going to be an international title match, which we'll get into in a second, but what do you think Tony Khan's going to talk to the audience about? Is this going to be about the announcement for this upcoming Collision show? Is this going to be the announcement that CM Punk is going to come back? You would have thought they'd hyped it up a bit more, considering the stuff that they've hyped up in the past. So they're just saying we're going to hear from Tony Khan. Again, what that's going to actually involve, we don't know. Now, he also announced on Saturday, Tony Khan, that Orange Cassidy will be defending his AEW International Championship against former Ring of Honor World Champion Bandido on this coming week's episode of Dynamite. Khan also shared that during the special edition of last night's Rampage, there was going to be an informative video package to preview the title match. This upcoming week's match will mark Bandido's return to AEW. He's been gone due to ongoing visa issues. He signed with the promotion back in October 2022. Bandido's last match with the company was on the January 18 edition of Dynamite, where he lost to Bryan Danielson. Since winning the title by defeating Pac on the October 12, 2022 edition of Dynamite, Cassidy has successfully defended the AEW International Championship a total of 19 times. His first title defense was on the October 21 edition of Rampage against Rush and Preston Vance. His last defense before Wednesday was at the New Japan Collision in Philadelphia event, where he defeated Gabriel Kidd. His other past opponents include Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Jake Hager, Buddy Matthews, Big Bill, QT Marshall, Wheeler Yuta, Trent Seven, and Kip Sabian as well. So can Orange Cassidy continue to defend his AEW International Championship? And what do you think Tony Khan is going to say when we hear from him on Wednesday? Anna Jay is teasing a bit of a change in her character. After taking out Kiera Hogan in a solid and competitive match, Julia Hart's time to celebrate was cut short by a rabid Anna Jay on Rampage last night. When their brutal matchup in a recent Rampage main event ended up with Jay taking the black mist in one eye from Julia Hart, after the match, Anna Jay ran out and attacked Hart, screaming at her and pointing to her still blackened eye that Hart caused this. Was Anna Jay teasing a character change, or is she fighting against the corruption by the House of Black by continuing to bravely fight Julia Hart? So I guess maybe we could see a character change. Could Anna Jay switch from being in the Jericho Appreciation Society to the House of Black? We'll have to wait and see. All In London continues to have a lot of people talking. We've seen quite a few advertisements this weekend if you're in the UK and you're a football fan or a soccer fan in the United States. Yesterday, London played host to many big football matches, and the All Elite presence was felt throughout two of them. The first game came at Craven Cottage, the home of Tony Khan's Fulham Football Club, where Fulham took on Leeds United in a Premier League game. While it was Harry Wilson and Andreas Pereira who caught the eyes on the pitch, it was the banners around the stadium that caught the eyes of many wrestling fans, as Khan took time to advertise his upcoming AEW All-In event at Wembley Stadium, with tickets going on sale next Friday, that being May 5th. That wasn't the only time the show was advertised that day, though, as during a bigger game later on in the day, the FA Cup semi-final match between Manchester City and Sheffield United, the All-In adverts were also displayed pitchside. Now, of course, that FA Cup semi-final took place at Wembley Stadium, where AEW will be hosting All In August. So we're getting quite a few advertisements over here in the UK. I don't know if they'll work or not, but certainly Tony Khan, he's going all in, not just booking the stadium, but also as well when it comes to the advertisement. Finally, Will Ospreay. Of course, earlier this week, it was announced by New Japan Pro Wrestling star Will Ospreay that he was medically cleared to compete after suffering a shoulder injury, which forced him to withdraw from the New Japan Cup last month. Although he's been cleared, the 29-year-old isn't sure how much longer his body can hold up due to the high-impact style he utilizes. Fellow New Japan star and United Empire stablemate Aaron Henare spoke to PWI Mania recently, seemingly before Ospreay was cleared, and stressed how unsure he was about Ospreay's in-ring future, saying, quote, "I'm not sure," he admitted when asked about Ospreay's return timetable, "so I genuinely thought he had just twinged the nerve in his neck to his shoulder. Turns out his whole pec." Ospreay continued to wrestle the match as planned, but Henare could tell something was off, adding, "I thought, oh man, he might have pumped his shoulder. Turns out he pulled his pec, but he kept going as well." That night during the second round of the New Japan Cup, the aerial assassin wrestled Mark Davis for another just over 20-minute match, fighting through the injury and ultimately securing the victory. After pulling out of the tournament, Davis, another member of the United Empire, took Ospreay's place in the quarterfinal. Henare, who joined the United Empire in April 2021, credits Ospreay for turning his career around, and in the meantime continues to look forward to his return no matter when that might be. "We all miss him, man," he said. "This is a guy who's been to every single continent, every single major wrestling country in the world, and handpicked every single guy on the team, so I'm happy he saw it in me because my career has got a lot better since then." Of course, as I mentioned, I think this interview was done prior to Ospreay revealing he's been cleared, so Ospreay versus Omega 2 does look likely for later on this year. Some speculating it could be taking place at Forbidden Door in Canada, of all places, so certainly going to be interesting. But there you go, guys. This is latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.